It was a hot summer day when I moved into my new apartment. The place was small, just a one-bedroom, but it was cheap and in a good location. I was excited to be finally living on my own. The walls were bare and the rooms were empty. It was a blank canvas, ready for me to make it my own. I spent the day unpacking boxes and arranging furniture. I felt happy and content. I had always wanted to live in the city. The energy and excitement of urban life appealed to me. My apartment building was old but charming. It had a vintage feel to it. My apartment was on the third floor. It had big windows that let in plenty of natural light. I was happy with my new home. I was tired from the move, but I felt good. I had a place of my own. It was a fresh start. I went to bed early that night, eager to start my new life in the city. I drifted off to sleep, feeling optimistic and hopeful. The first few weeks in my apartment were uneventful. I was busy settling into my new job. When I wasn't working, I was exploring the city. I quickly fell into a routine. I would wake up, go to work, come home, make dinner, and then relax for the evening. I was enjoying my newfound independence. My apartment was starting to feel like home. I had put up some pictures on the walls. I bought some plants to brighten up the place. I was making the space my own. It was cozy and comfortable. I felt safe and secure within its walls. I was content with my simple life. I didn't go out much. I preferred to stay in my apartment. I was a creature of habit. I liked my routines. I found comfort in the familiar. I felt a sense of peace in my solitude. My apartment was my sanctuary, a place where I could escape the noise and chaos of the city. Things started to change gradually. It began with little things. I would hear noises at night, small sounds like footsteps or whispers just at the edge of my hearing. At first I dismissed them. I told myself it was just the old buildings settling. I tried not to let it bother me. Then things started to disappear. Small objects like my keys or my phone. I would spend hours searching for them, only to find them in the most obvious places. It was as if I had misplaced them without realizing it. I started to question my sanity. Was I becoming forgetful? Was I losing my mind? I tried to rationalize the events. I told myself there were logical explanations. I was stressed from work. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was letting my imagination run wild. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. Something wasn't right. One day I noticed something strange about the mirror in my bathroom. It was an old mirror with a heavy wooden frame. I had bought it at an antique shop shortly after moving in. I had always liked the way it looked. It added a touch of vintage charm to the bathroom. But now there was something unsettling about it. The reflection seemed off. It was subtle, almost imperceptible. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the reflection wasn't quite mirroring my movements correctly. It was as if it had a slight delay, a tiny lag in its response. It was unnerving. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was my imagination playing tricks on me. Mirrors could be strange. The play of light and shadow could create illusions. I tried to convince myself it was nothing more than that. But the unease lingered. One night, I woke up suddenly from a deep sleep. I felt a chill as if someone had walked over my grave. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked around the room, but everything seemed normal. The only sound was the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Then I saw it. My reflection in the mirror across the room. It was me, but not quite. The reflection was smiling. A wide, unnatural grin that stretched across its face, a grin that I wasn't making. Terror gripped me. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. I just stared at the smiling reflection in the mirror. The smile slowly faded. The reflection returned to normal. I was frozen in place, paralyzed by fear. I didn't know how long I sat there, staring at the mirror. Eventually exhaustion took over and I collapsed back onto the bed. I lay there wide awake, too terrified to close my eyes. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I couldn't face going outside. I couldn't shake the image of the smiling reflection from my mind. I spent the day in my apartment trying to calm myself down. I tried to convince myself it was a dream, a figment of my imagination. But deep down, I knew it was real. I decided to get rid of the mirror. I couldn't stand the sight of it anymore. I took it down from the wall and carried it down to the basement. The basement was dark and damp, filled with the discarded belongings of previous tenants. I left the mirror leaning against the wall, hoping to never see it again. I went back upstairs to my apartment. I felt a sense of relief, as if I had removed the source of my fear. I tried to put the experience behind me, but the fear lingered. It was a heavy weight that settled in my stomach, a constant reminder that something was wrong. A few days later, I needed to do laundry. My apartment building had a shared laundry room in the basement. I had been avoiding the basement since I left the mirror down there. But I was out of clean clothes and I had no choice. I grabbed my laundry basket and headed downstairs. The basement was just as dark and damp as I remembered. The musty smell of mildew hung in the air. I quickly found the washing machine and started loading my clothes. As I waited for the machine to finish, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye. It was the mirror. It wasn't where I had left it. It was now standing upright, facing me. I felt a surge of panic. I had left the mirror leaning against the wall. How had it moved? I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination. The dim lighting in the basement was playing tricks on my eyes, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what was going on. I decided to investigate. I went back upstairs to my apartment and grabbed a flashlight. I returned to the basement, determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. I approached the mirror cautiously, my heart pounding in my chest. I held my breath as I turned on the flashlight and shone it on the mirror. It was empty. There was no reflection, just a blank, dark surface. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine. I reached out and touched the surface of the mirror. It was icy cold, as if it had been chilled from the inside. I pulled my hand away quickly, a sense of dread washing over me. There was something deeply unsettling about the mirror's emptiness. I stepped back, my mind racing. I'd never seen anything like it before. Where was my reflection? What had happened to it? I felt a growing sense of unease, a feeling that I was in terrible danger. I knew I had to get out of the basement. I had to escape. I turned to leave, but something stopped me in my tracks. There, on the wall behind the mirror, was a message scrawled in what looked like blood. It was a single word, written in shaky, uneven letters. Behind. I felt a surge of terror, a primal fear that gripped me to my core. I understood the message. It wasn't talking about the wall behind the mirror, it was talking about the mirror itself. Whatever was in the mirror, it wasn't trapped inside, it was behind it, in the space between the mirror and the wall. I realized with a sickening dread that I had been wrong to get rid of the mirror. I hadn't removed the source of my fear. I had brought it closer. I was trapped. Whatever was in the mirror, it was here with me in the basement. It was behind me, watching me, waiting for its moment to strike. I felt a cold breath on the back of my neck, and I knew that it was close. I ran as fast as I could. Up the basement stairs, out of the building, into the street. I didn't stop running until I was miles away from my apartment. I never went back. I left everything behind. I didn't care about my belongings, my job, my life in the city. All I cared about was escaping the horror that I had unleashed. I never saw the reflection again, but I know it's out there, somewhere, waiting, watching. I can feel its presence. a constant shadow lurking at the edge of my awareness. I can't escape the fear. It's a part of me now, a chilling reminder of the darkness that exists just beyond our perception. I'll never look in a mirror the same way again. I'm telling my story as a warning. Be careful what you bring into your home. Be careful what you reflect. You never know what might be lurking behind the surface, waiting for its chance to break through.